From last time we met, looked at a couple of things that I said I would look at. One of them, the language from the Cannabis Control Commission that I was trying to find with respects to the diversity and the community impact plan. That is part of one of the requirements, not necessarily for us, but also for the applicants. So I did find that language. I did take a look at also the rubric again in a little more detail, and I like it. I like the Cannabis Control Commission's rubric. For several reasons, but one of them being that it is consistent with our social equity policy. It's consistent with our HCA, right? We adopted the Cannabis Control Commission's HCA. We looked at the social equity policy. All that language is consistent with the reason why the Cannabis Control Commission designated them as social equity program applicants or economic empowered priority applicants. But I also like the fact that it gives, an opportunity, like it holds a little more accountability with reasoning for the score, instead of just picking a number or, I kind of like it, MJ. And I will tell you, I'm a little concerned still about that we don't have preemptive compliance, but everything else we're doing by the Cannabis Control Commission regulations. And I think with this particular rubric, it keeps everybody on a level playing field and it kind of diminishes the challenges because we did face some, right? We did have a little bit of legal documentation from. So I don't know what you think. I mean, I also took a look at the other stuff as well, and the redlining. So what are your thoughts on that? What do you think? What do you think about this?
Well, back in May, when we met back in May 13th, I had both the old rubric and the Cannabis Control Commission rubric template in the packet. I didn't get a warm and fuzzy feeling from the members of the select board about changing it. So I think that maybe what we should do, and I go back and forth. I mean, sometimes it's like there's advantages to it, and then there's like it's really cut and dried, and I don't know if it covers some of the things that we had put in were pretty unique to the way we were thinking about Bourne and Bourne residents. And I think our rubric captured some of the things that were articulated by the select board as being important considerations. And people had the opportunity then to weigh things more or less based on their opinion. And so it could go either way. I mean, I think my suggestion is what we do is kind of look at the rubric that we had and make changes that we think might be made to bring it in, up to like what we're doing for social equity, and then put the other one in the packet and say to the select board, these are the changes that if we're going to keep ours, we recommend you do. And this is the template from the Cannabis Control Commission, and we could just adopt this and just let people decide what they want to do. I don't want to really, and I don't really want to recommend one way or the other.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah.
Just like presenting both and just having a good discussion about it.
Yeah, and then have people say, yeah, we'll keep what we had, or I found it. I'd rather have it more cut and dry, more laid out by points, because
right.
But what was interesting is that people had different opinions and people weighed things differently. And
Yeah, and I think there's still opportunity with this rubric to do that. Um, and it's not to say we have to do I think other than it's pretty darn close to what we have. I mean, we in as far as certain areas that we want to evaluate things on, the only thing that was lacking in the Cannabis Control Commission ones that we was part of our points, and I don't know if it needs to be, was including the financing piece of it. But that's something that could be part of like the checklist and ensuring, or part of the business plan would include that. That was the only thing in the rubric that,
and I think we had it in our rubric, but I don't,
I think it's
one of
just
the
a
things
check
about that is like,
thing.
the Cannabis Control Commission has financial things that you have to do to get licensed by them. And one of the things we tried to avoid was like, having the same thing, having us do the same things as the Cannabis Control Commission. However, having said that, we're in a situation now where Capeway Cannabis has not gone to the planning board, and it's 6 months past
Right. It was
the
the, what
ADA.
was
So
it, the
we're going to have
16th?
to make
The 16th.
December 17th.
Okay, right. So 6 months have passed. Right, right.
Right. And so we're going to have to decide what we're going to do about that.
Right, and that, yeah, I know it's not part of our agenda
But
today,
I bring it
but
up because that financing, we didn't delve into the financing. We didn't delve into, and I don't know if that's the issue facing them or if it's other things facing them, but having
well, either
that
way,
documentation, I will be more careful about asking for that myself this time.
right. And I thought, yeah, I mean,
I mean, I think we asked and I think we got some information, but I don't feel that I really question people about it that much.
yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. And that's right. That financial piece is something, we can include
We
funding
have
sources.
it. We have
But
it in there.
we do,
It's
but
how do we rank?
I'm saying we need to do more diligence in the questions that we ask when we evaluate the applicants, if that's part of what's really important,
Right,
right? And it's
right.
not just right, right. With
So,
that, and stress, yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah. All right. So the social equity policy, I don't think we need to remove the
Yeah, I agree with
section
you. Yeah.
D. I
Yeah,
think the only word we have to change is may reserve to has reserved. Because that's also part of the social equity regulation, just identifiers
yeah.
for,
So when I sent that thing yesterday, I deleted it
I,
because we
I
talked about
thought the
deleting it,
same
but I
thing.
highlighted in yellow because I went back and looked at it too. And that
Yeah.
wording we had was right from their thing.
That,
So,
yes, yeah. So I
so
think
I,
for
I
this
think it should be,
policy wise, I think we're
yeah.
good only to change the
All
may
right, hold
reserve to
on.
has reserved.
Yeah.
Um,
Can I,
do, um, do you want me to see if I can share?
yeah, I was going to say, let's take that. If we share the screen so we could actually kind of just go through it rather than try to not.
Where? Hold on. I think this is it. Can you see it?
Yep.
You got it? Okay. Yeah. So the checklist was kind of generated by what our final outcomes of the
Yeah, so
rubric
I
is.
kind of, as I was going through, I kind of put yellow highlights for
Okay.
like where I saw dates. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
talking about that here, but
Yeah. And I think that's something that Marlene can
yeah,
sort of
yeah, she said she would
do.
work that stuff out.
Yeah. Yeah. Am I controlling the screen or is someone else?
That's
My screen's a
not
little
me.
funky. Is this okay? All right, so this was all dates
Yeah,
and things like that.
yeah. So,
So yeah,
and I couldn't
license
figure
type.
out, I couldn't insert because that was in that's a table. So I had to put a comment. Can you make it wider? Because I put a comment under the type of license. That was a little bit higher up in that page. Yeah, there's a comment that said add
Right.
the, yeah, because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
couldn't figure out um, that comment went in there. I couldn't adjust that table.
That's fine. I'm sure Marlene
Yeah,
can take
yeah,
care of all
yeah.
of that.
That's I just wanted to,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then,
And
so
then
then we got, so
so then
this,
we need to
uh,
keep that
yeah, so I would, if you have,
if we go with the yeah.
yeah, so with that, I would, not accept that deletion. Can you click in there and like not accept it? Reject change.
Oops, I missed some.
Yeah.
Oh, for the love of God.
Fourth time is a charm.
Okay.
All right.
All
So we
right.
leave
All right.
that. And then, so what we talked about was deleting this minority category in the rubric and leaving women and veteran. And we can talk about that. I've been thinking since then that maybe we only make it 5 points, but yeah. And then,
But so see, I think this whole section, I don't think we need this whole section.
um, yeah,
Well, it depends on the rubric, right? This is the checklist, so it all
yeah.
that
So I only
it
took
correlates
those
with
checklist things off based on reducing that rubric. And then we could talk to the board. I mean, whether they want to
yeah.
give women and veterans any priority, whether they want it to be 10 or 5 points. I'm open to that discussion. So,
Okay. Okay.
and I'm also open to this proposed hiring plan just being left in this business thing and not a separate category and just increasing the points.
Oh, so
So,
originally, right, the stress, I had made the recommendation that we pull it out and give it the 10 points. Is that what you're
right.
talking about?
Or we leave the diversity as 10 points and give 15 points to this as a separate category. You want to go to the rubric? Because let's talk about the rubric and then we could come back and change the checklist.
Yeah, because the
Yeah, so on
checklist is
this,
generated by,
yeah,
Marlene generated the checklist
let's
based on
go
the
back to the
rubric.
social equity thing. So that deletion on the social equity of that, let's reject that deletion. Yeah, okay. And just leave the has reserved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now we're on the rubric, right? Scoring. Can you make your thing bigger or something so it fits better? Or maybe just get rid of that.
How's that?
Why don't you just get rid of the comments thing? Yeah, that's better. Okay, that's good. The whole thing's showing now.
Okay. Because I can, yeah. Okay. I mean, location, I mean, that's kind of covered in the,
Yeah, we didn't give it
if the
points, but
board
we
decides
did.
on this one, location's important, just as a check box. Although, okay.
We put it in there. We didn't give points for it.
No, I know.
Just said that they
I
had to have
understand that,
it.
but
So
yeah, okay.
I'm fine. I'd rather have it in there as so we say that we're looking at it.
Okay.
And I don't know if we want to do anything else. There
I
were
don't,
some things
so
about location that,
my thought on that too is it better, does it better serve a purpose if it's in a checklist and if, well, no, okay. Because then Marlene has to check to see,
yeah, let's just leave it. There's no, I would just leave it.
because they shouldn't get to this point if they're don't have it in the overlay
Right,
district or control of the property. They shouldn't
right,
even be acceptable applicants.
right. But I'd still leave it in. Uh,
Okay, so this will
this we
reject.
reject, yeah.
So, yeah, this part, I don't see the need for this part because they're all,
I think as an I think that that's a discussion we need to have with the board.
yeah,
I think
that's fine.
we take the minority out because it's covered in the social equity and because there was a lot of comments from what's her face from Ivrea that we shouldn't have it in here in her letter of November, whatever.
Well,
And
this whole section was a little
yeah, and then so the 10,
created problems.
yeah, so then we just put it at 10 or we could put it at 5. I don't care.
Well, here's
It's 5
my
points.
here's my thought on this too, MJ. We already so we know that the Indian, indigenous people, Asian, Black, Hispanic are already, part of how they are identified as equity applicants or economic empowered applicants, either one. Um, so why then are we giving preference to just women and veterans? That's my
Well,
concern in this section.
I, I,
And
I
we
understand that. I
we
understand that.
and
I
we
understand that point
gave
of view.
we
And we
gave
actually gave
yes
licenses. That was the
to a
determining
woman
factor on the licenses that we
and
gave.
a veteran. Yes. So now we have this unique group of individuals, right? These social equity individuals who who are already considered by all of these definitions, woman, veteran, Indian, indigenous, Asian, Black, or Hispanic. So why are we giving preference? Why are we alienating them now from getting
Not
these
alienating
points?
them. They're getting their 25 points. This we took out that they could only those entities not afforded the 25. We deleted that part. So it's an additional 10 points
Just
for
because they're
women
women or
and
veterans.
veterans. Or I don't know, we can make it 5 points. I'm not comfortable recommending deleting it without
So,
getting
so
board input on it.
that's fine.
And I
That's
think we
fine.
leave it as you get these points in addition. We've put it at 10. We could put it at 5. I don't care. I mean, it's
So you don't think it's going to be an issue with those who are not women or veterans saying that they are adversely being profiled or not, who are, I don't know what I'm looking for here. The headache starting.
yeah, but when you do an SRF loan, right? When you do an
Yeah,
SRF loan, you have to certify that you're going to hire construction companies that give preference to women, veterans, minorities. I mean, it's very common in procurement that you do this. So I don't have a problem with doing it. I think that we should, as a board, say, yes, we want to give extra points for this,
okay,
or no, we don't.
fair enough.
It's really, I think it's a discussion point. So
Okay,
I think that's what we do. And if we do keep it, we put it in at 10 points. We could talk about 5 points or 10 points or whatever. I mean, this
okay.
is kind of what we talked about the last time, which is what I
Yeah,
was.
yeah. I
Yeah.
just want to alleviate any anybody
Yeah.
having an angle to come after us for some reason and
So
have
then we talked
applicants
about
applaud.
taking the hiring piece out and putting it into a separate category, which is what I did. The business plan includes commitment to hiring diversity applicants and annual reporting. And I took that bullet and put it into a new category at
Yeah, I
the,
saw that down below.
yeah, yeah.
So one of the
And I've gone back and forth about this since I kind of like put it there and I looked at it and I go, I don't know, maybe we just leave it where it was and just add 15 points to the business plan. And then let the individual members assign the points as to what's important for them. I mean, and then that goes back to, we want to use a more detailed
So,
point
yeah,
rubric.
and one of the things on this particular piece too that I wanted to also stretch and found language addressing is that they demonstrate a plan to positively impact the local community and to be good business neighbors. That was that was language that struck me that I think is important.
Is that in the rubric thing?
That's in
In the cannabis?
it was in the cannabis, all of the research I was doing, and it was part of the rubric too, piece of it that,
Why don't
and
we
there,
add that?
and it
Why
does,
don't we
and
add that bullet under under the business plan?
in this section in 15, with the 15
In the
point
15,
section.
yeah, sure. I can put it, yeah. Or, instead of calling it the diversity hiring plan, we could just say business hiring plan.
Right.
And then have it include the diversity in the explanation, diversity and positive impact on the community.
Yeah,
So if we
demonstrates
change the title to business hiring plan,
impact the local community.
yeah, that's plan.
And to be good.
And
So,
that plan demonstrates a plan, not pan.
oh, sorry.
Yeah. And then
Uh,
I think you could just delete.
I was gonna strike out, but okay. There we go.
Okay.
Oh, hit delete and it strikes out. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I was looking for my strikeout key.
And do you want to change so the diversity commitment time diversity applicants and maybe add another bullet
Where?
on business plan includes commitment to hiring diversity applicants, an annual reporting number of diversity employees, and then maybe add just another bullet that says positive,
Commitment to,
commitment to positively impact the local community and be good business neighbors. I mean,
yeah,
plan shows,
yeah,
I don't know, just pretty much what you just said
right.
as another bullet. Yeah, that's good. That's fine.
And business partners or in,
Yeah, just leave it. Positive impacts in the community.
okay.
Yeah.
Or to the community or in the community. Either one. That's all right.
Yeah. And then it fits.
Right.
I mean, then if that's the rubric on the back in the checklist, and then that discussion point is, do we keep in the diversity or take it out? And then that would go to the checklist.
Right.
Um,
Right. Yeah, the checklist will Marlene can generate once the board decides on the rubric, because that'll dictate the necessary documentation.
Right. Yeah, it would add something for the business hiring, so,
Right.
yeah.
Marlene, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
All right.
So I think the packet for July 15th is, I think when we talked about talking about this,
mhm.
should include like this, sort of mark changes thing. And then the template from the Cannabis Commission on the scoring rubric. So we can say, if you want to use their template, we could just adopt their template, or we could, just
Yeah.
adjust ours in this way to kind of reflect, the social equity thing and
Right.
let them decide.
Marlene, well, no, I guess not. You wouldn't have a checklist ready because then their board decisions hadn't been made.
Right, no, I have to wait until the policy is voted and the matrix is voted, and then I
Okay.
can generate the rest of the packet.
Great. Okay. Anything else, MJ?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that we can only make some recommendations, and I think there are some things that the board's just going to have to
Yeah,
decide.
yeah. No,
Because I go back and forth. So that tells me I need some other input.
sure. No,
Yeah,
that's, yeah, it's important. It is, it's important to bring it to the board and kind of
Yeah.
have that conversation. And I mean, that was the
So
whole
if you
purpose
want to
of this
save
was
those
to,
changes that you made and then email that new document to Marlene, I guess, and
well, it
me.
should be automatically saved, right? Because it was live,
It was live, yeah,
it was live.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I always save before I close, but
Um, I'm gonna do it right now.
okay.
Okay. All right. I think we're good.
I think we
There's
are.
nothing else.
Yeah, I
See you
think
tomorrow
that's it.
night. Thank you, Marlene. Bye, MJ.
Bye.
Motion adjourned, meeting adjourned.